Alright, today is Monday, April 2nd, 2018. Hope everyone had a great Easter and a great April Fool's Day as well. So this is a video that I've wanted to make for a while. I've gotten, thousands of comments kind of giving opinions, also asking about this. Primarily a lot of good comments giving different ideas, situations, and everything. So I'm going to incorporate all of that, as well as different YouTube videos I've watched, different articles that I've read, different posts on forums such as Reddit. Basically talking about the question of these two major scenarios. Whether or not the bear market or correction is going to end soon, or whether or not we still have months and months to go. Because I know plenty of people on both sides of that question. A lot of people saying April, May are going to be the end of this correction, and we're going to see new all-time highs soon after that. And there are also people saying, we could go through the entire year of 2018 in a somewhat, bearish trend. So I want to talk about both of those. But before that, I kind of want to set everything up by really just looking at the market fundamentally, excluding price. And I also want to talk about the Bitcoin futures that was announced at the end of 2017, how that might have had impact on it. The surprising lack of FUD, because there is FUD in the market, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, but there also is plenty of positive news that didn't move the price much either. And again, this is my opinion, but I think maybe the smallest factor to account for in what's been going on over the past months is negative news, because there's been equally as positive news too. There's been both good and bad news, and neither of them really affected the price. The market was kind of moving in those directions that it was going those weeks of those announcements kind of regardless. And you really didn't see much a budge from the market when different things came out. Negative meaning LightPay, positive meaning the announcement of the Lightning Network and its progress, as well as Abra using Litecoin as its smart contracts platform. So again, there's good and bad news, but I think one of the biggest things that this has to do with is institutional money. The first ever Bitcoin futures that happened at the end of 2017, possible ETFs in the future. And overall, in my opinion, the major reason we're seeing what we're seeing is just because it was a much needed correction after an absolutely parabolic, ridiculous, never seen before price increase like we saw at the end of 2017. And just to give the smallest amount of perspective on that, if we just look at the total market capitalization beginning in 2013, but this parabolic run that we've never seen before in cryptocurrency at the end of 2017, in my opinion, is pretty much mostly responsible for what we've seen so far in 2018. And just looking at it purely from a price perspective, after this parabolic increase here, I think it's only necessary for the market to be healthy that we have a somewhat similar decrease in price over the past few months. So this is a comment posted about an hour ago on the Bitcoin Reddit daily discussion page for April 2nd, 2018. I think the individual here, Disser412, his thoughts actually 100% echo exactly how I feel, what I think is responsible for this. So I want to read this really quick and then relate it to the chart there. My opinion on how we got here is on October 31st, CME announces futures trading. Institutional money knows that they can exploit this feature on a major platform, so they started buying up Bitcoins until the fear, uncertainty, and doubt started for SegWit2x in mid-November. SegWit2x was an attempted takeover of the development team by major businesses in Bitcoin, such as the DCG BitPay and Coinbase. After that fear, uncertainty, and doubt passed, the institutional money continued to buy. This happened until a little after futures started going live on December 11th. Later that week, we hit the all-time high, as well as the all-time high for Litecoin. And in my opinion, this is when the big money shorted Bitcoin on CME and sold what they bought up on the run to 19,000 plus. This was a big move to make money and manipulate the market with the help of mainstream media and fear of missing out. After a few months of shorts, this is where we are. We are near equilibrium with a lot more users. Lightning Network is live, and there are all kinds of great stuff going on in Bitcoin, and I would argue in cryptocurrency as a whole. I don't think the price will go much lower, but it can. I think we'll start seeing some calmness in the market as we grow. Bitcoin is bigger and better than ever, and this is all a really exciting time. So I 100% agree with that, and if we look just, basically at the market fundamentals, the technology is growing. The Lightning Network is being adopted. Everything is going extremely well with that so far. Litecoin is also being used as a smart contract platform for Abra, and there's no real technological problems with cryptocurrency. You don't even have countries really stepping out and banning cryptocurrency, or even rumors of that like you saw at the end of 2017, in even quarter 3 of 2017. There's not really much fear, uncertainty, and doubt or FUD attempts like we even saw at the end of 2017 with Jamie Dimon pretty much coming out every month and saying cryptocurrency was a scam, Bitcoin is a scam, whatever he said, all of his fear attempts. The last thing we really heard of Jamie Dimon was that he was in support of Bitcoin and blockchain and everything like that. And we could easily have a huge figure like a CEO of a large bank come out and try to spread FUD, but we're not even seeing that. So I think it's important to realize that there really is not a lot of FUD going on, or at least the positive news matches the FUD, meaning there's not an overwhelming amount of it compared to the amount of good news as well. I think a big factor to this too as well is just the implementation of futures contracts, possible ETFs in the future as well. But as cryptocurrency as a whole becomes more mainstream, I think the biggest hurdle that we have to face is market manipulation. And I think that is what we've seen. Looking back, a year from now, 2 years from now, I think it'll all be a little bit more clear. But without a doubt, I definitely think that is the culprit here. And again, if we even just look at cryptocurrency, the total market capitalization, what we saw in mid-2017 and quarter 3 2017, these two increases were massive. But compared to this parabolic run we saw at the end of 2017, they look almost like nothing. But this parabolic run, it's not sustainable forever, and a similar parabolic decrease here is absolutely necessary. And I'm surprised myself, as well as many other people, probably didn't anticipate this more. I think maybe the only person I'm aware of that did anticipate it is Charlie Lee, who had that tweet basically saying that a short-term bear market or huge correction was coming. And he got a lot of heat for that, but I think he was basing that more on his personal experience, because he's been in cryptocurrency longer than 95% of people, maybe like 99% of people in cryptocurrency. He's very in tune with the market, in my opinion. But essentially the point is, with this parabolic run here, there has to be somewhat of a parabolic decrease as well. And could this parabolic run here be somewhat attributed to the futures contracts, the announcement of them and everything like that? I absolutely think that is the case. But back to the main question, of the two scenarios, are we going to be entering a very long-term bear market, or are we coming to the end of it? And again, this is just my opinion, but I personally subscribe to the fact more that we're still in a very long-term bull market, and this is a correction. And so I still think we're going to see all-time highs in 2018. Myself, as well as many other people, look in the past and try to look at these charts, go back to 2016, go back to 2015 to see if this kind of pattern has repeated itself before. But I think one problem with that might be that the fact cryptocurrency as a whole has never been where it is now in terms of mainstream adoption, in terms of even ETFs and futures, as well as this far along with the technology, with the Lightning Network, more and more exchanges and different on-ramps to getting into cryptocurrency. And so I think the territory they're heading into is kind of like a new frontier, in the sense that I don't think it's necessarily valid to expect the market to behave like it has before, because there's so many new things going on with it and so many hurdles that cryptocurrency as a whole has to face to really reach mainstream adoption. And so on one end, I think that's good, because it doesn't put us in the space where we're guaranteed another 2-year bear market like we saw 2013 and 2015, again, which was majorly brought on by Mt. Gox and everything like that. Again, nothing that bad has happened in the market either. There's not really been that big of a FUD or a panic scenario that should really cause the prices to drop. And so that's another reason why I think this is just a natural correction that we're facing here. And so this parabolic run-up really lasted about 3 months, and this correction that we've been going through has been almost about 3 months as well. So basically, to sum this up, I think mainly, if you were to ask the question, why is the cryptocurrency market decreasing? I think primarily it has to do with the fact that this is natural and healthy after the parabolic run-up we saw. I think that there is some manipulation that went into the futures that was announced at the end of 2017. I think there was institutional money that knew their plan all along and definitely caused this. But on a good note, I think those institutional players are more interested in cryptocurrency than ever. As we saw from the SEC hearing, there's people in government and in high places in terms of banking and everything that do believe there is a huge potential, not only with the technology, but obviously with making profit as well in cryptocurrency. So manipulation, just overall necessary correction after the parabolic run-up, I think those are the two biggest factors. I think there is some fear, uncertainty, and doubt for sure in the market. I think overall market sentiment is probably the lowest it's been since the beginning of 2018, because many people, including myself, did not think the correction would necessarily be this long. And that's why you even see a lot of YouTubers that I like to watch daily doing technical analysis and everything like that. Some of them haven't even posted in a few weeks. And so that kind of just also, in my opinion, mimics the overall sentiment of the market, that people are in more of a capitulation stage, a little disinterested and everything. And ideally that is what we want to see before we do have uptrends in the market and before we get out of the slump that we're in. So in my opinion, I think we're in a good place right now in terms of being able to potentially have more breakouts and return to getting those higher highs relative to the past few months. But basically, to sum it up, I would say that It's a combination of all of these things. And just to end with my opinion, I do think that it's possible that we see all-time highs at some point in 2018. And I'm simply basing that off of the fact that the technology in cryptocurrency has never been more solid as a whole. And the fact that even though it seems like people aren't as interested in cryptocurrency at the moment, a lot of those people will return like they have in the past. As well, cryptocurrency awareness is at an all-time high. More people know about cryptocurrency on April 2nd, 2018 than they did on April 2nd, 2017. And I think that's going to grow. But again, living day to day through it, it seems longer and longer. But again, looking at this chart to me is just a really good visual representation of why the correction and what we're seeing right now is necessary. Because you've never seen anything like this with traditional markets or anything. This has never happened really before ever. This type of parabolic run up from $135 billion to $825 billion in about 2.5 months. So I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on this, if you agree. Essentially, I tried to incorporate everybody's comments, everybody's thoughts, and every idea as to why the market is doing this, but really highlight, in my opinion, what I think are the major reasons. And again, I thought this was a good time to make this video because the market itself essentially kind of has had a double bottom, the first being at the beginning of February, and the second bottom really being at the end of March 2018. Litecoin itself really touched on 110 twice over the past week, and currently right now we're actually sitting above the 100-day moving average on the hourly chart. And so again, if Litecoin can hold above that 110 mark, I think that's excellent. I know a lot of people are calling for 100 and below prices for Litecoin, but again, I personally don't see that happening just because of all of the support at 100. And if we do go under 100 and stay there for a day or two, you will notice that my tone and my sentiment of the market will completely change. As tough as it is, I'm actually very optimistic as long as we're above that 100 US dollar mark. So if we would go below 100, that's when you would see, at least in my videos, I would change my opinion 100%. That's the point where I would start being more bearish. And right now I really don't see that. And so to end the video, I just wanted to read this article by EthereumWorldNews.com, written by Ayush Jindal. Litecoin price formed a decent support above 105 against the US dollar. Litecoin USD is currently recovering and it may continue to move higher towards 130. Litecoin price finally some decent support around 108, 110, which is seen a few times over the past few weeks. There was a break above a major bearish trend line with resistance near 115 on the hourly chart of the Litecoin USD pair. The pair is likely to extend the current correction towards the 128, 130 levels. Again, I think sitting above the 50 and 100-day moving average on the hourly chart is a really good sign here. But it doesn't promise anything either. It's possible we might test 110 again. The pair traded above the $112 level and broke the 23.6% Fibonacci retracement level of the last downside wave from the $140 swing high to the $110 low. More importantly, there's a break above a major bearish trend line with the resistance near 115 on the hourly chart of the Litecoin USD pair. The next major upside hurdle could be around the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level of the last downside wave from the $140 swing high to the $109 low. A break and close above the 128 and 138 levels could accelerate gains. Above $130, the price may attempt a move towards the all-important $150 level. On the flip side, if the price falls to move past 130, it may start a fresh downside wave. Below 110, the most important support could be around the $100 level. And in my opinion, above 100 and what we're seeing bouncing off the 110 is giving us some hope for the future. And if we would drop below that, then that's where I'd really change my tune. But as for now, it's looking good, and that's what I want to focus on. Just, take every day, day by day, because again, nobody knows what's going to happen, but it is important to keep an eye on. And if we look here on the Bitcoin USD pairing as well on the daily chart on Bitfinex, this potentially could be a double bottom here where we saw the first one in February and this one really essentially the end of March, the beginning of April. These potentially could be the lowest lows that we see. They could not be as well. But so far, at least this chart gives some hope. And again, this is, in my opinion, a really crucial area because if we don't have a nice bounce over the next week, maybe getting up to 8,000 or 9,000 on Bitcoin, then in my opinion, that could signal a longer term bearish trend that we're seeing here. So let me know what you guys think. I apologize. I know this is a pretty long video, but there was a lot of stuff I wanted to cover. If you've watched this far, I appreciate that so much. Thank you for coming by. If you haven't already, please give the video a like and consider subscribing to this channel. And everyone, I hope everyone has a great day.